Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And today's video sort of hits a little bit different than the last couple that's been sort of on the back of horrendous results, horrendous performances and horrendous feelings as Rangers fans. We're kind of peeking our heads out a little bit better as again the feeling is slightly different, but we all know by the way the weekend unfolds in about an hour and a half before the kickoff when we all see the starting 11 how quickly that good feeling, that good vibe can be ripped away for us depending on selections and lessons that possibly weren't actually learned. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because that is obviously breaking down the Rangers side in the video, and that's not what we do right here regarding the old previews. It starts with the opposition and then we get to the main course if you actually will. So if you don't mind hitting a like button, that'd be greatly appreciated as we go on yet another journey together discussing yet another upcoming Rangers game. And as I go ahead and do that, if you find yourself enjoying the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and help us on our way to 65k as we're absolutely clawing that target down, and we're almost there already at the start of this season. But getting into the actual oppositional preview, we're obviously here to talk about St Mirren, who at my current time of recording sit 8th in the league. But as I'm posting this video up on a Friday and there's games tomorrow, that is subject to change because the league is so damn tight and there's so many teams scrapping pretty much everywhere. And whether or not they do move another couple places down depending on how things go the weekend before the game kicks off for us on Sunday, it's got to be said there is a bit of a similar story to what St Mirren are going through than what Kilmarnock were going through, that we broke almost too well in terms of the actual preview video, in terms of a stuttering start and not playing too well. But there is some clear differences between the likes of Kilmarnock and St Mirren, and a clear, maybe a trajectory of where the teams are actually going. Because as we broke in the Kilmarnock preview video, Kilmarnock, after getting knocked out of Europe, was starting to slowly put in the foundations and slowly starting to chip away and slowly starting to build up. Where they'd started to win a couple games and then they came in against us obviously feeling good about themselves and feeling confident, and we know how that ended up going. St Mirren, however, after getting knocked out of Europe, has just been gone sort of that way, we fluttering with that and then falling back down, which has been very unlike the side that, again, when you look at it on paper, is a very talented side. As this was the side that at the start of the season had a fantastic European result due to a fantastic goal from O'Hara that got everybody talking, and then they started the season off by absolutely scanting Hibs on the opening day of the season, 3-0, they go, everybody going, wait a minute, this St Mirren side might truly be up and clicking now. This could be a side that's dangerous, but almost as they were talked up, it fell away. Because as the hype built, they met in a matchup versus Aberdeen, and Aberdeen put them to the sword, slapping them down 3-1, giving them a wee bit of reminder. What happened then was going into the domestic side of the action and focusing on there and moving away sort of from their European games. They then got knocked out of the cup versus Dundee United, which was a bitter disappointment at the first time of asking. They then played against Celtic, where they have made it difficult in the past and are known to drag these games and make Celtic truly work for it. Against Celtic's got a good record versus St Mirren, but usually have to really get in the stick in the mud, and it's usually a bit of a battle. But honestly, Celtic absolutely blitzed them and ran all over them, scoring within 3 or 4 minutes of the game and having the game wrapped up about 30 minutes in to the old matchup, showing they've not really got the bite and the fight that's been there maybe in the previous season. However, as there was zero resiliency on that day versus the Celtic attack, they started to show flashes of them old self, and the flashes of the frustrating St Mirren as they started to pick up some points and even grab yet another win as they went on a 3-game undefeated streak, which was by far their best run of the season, and that started that off with a battling, spirited draw versus Dundee. But I'm saying it like this and I'm throwing it away a little bit because I'd actually say it was a better result for Dundee than it was for St Mirren because of the poundings and how poorly they'd been playing. To start the game off and play and create some of the chances they did versus Dundee, taking the lead not only once but twice in the game, to then throw it away and only come away fair point, did feel like a bit of a frustrating game in that aspect, and they carried that into their next match as they yet again took the lead versus Kilmarnock, got pegged back, and then took the lead again for the second time before conceding another one and throwing another 3 points away. And what was worse about this result versus Kilmarnock is Kilmarnock was actually down to 10 men at the actual occasion, and St Mirren actually threw that one away as well, which is very, very unlike them. You know what I mean? They usually keep it pretty clean, and if they do, they've never been a team that's been blessed with scoring a lot of goals, but usually when they do get ahead, they're able to shut up shop and they pick up the points. They've been a well-run side for a little while. But again, it was back-to-back draws, and what faced them was against Hearts under a certain Naismith, and we all know how that went. Everybody beat Hearts apart from us, it seemed to be, as Hearts lost 2-1 to St Mirren, and St Mirren sent Mr Naismith packing on his way. And it looked at that, yeah, they're back. But what followed after that has to be maybe the worst spell of football I've seen St Mirren play in a very, very long time, troops. And I would love it to be that type of, you know what I mean? If they're going to come into the game versus us on Sunday playing the way they did over the next 3 matches, the current form gone into this game in terms of the level, work rate, just their chance creation, defensively all over the shop, I'll be absolutely delighted, because after beating Hearts and getting pretty much Naismith sacked or starting the old quickening of that, they then played against Motherwell, where they did again take the lead early on the game, only to throw it away again with a quickfire double from Lennon Miller. They then played against 10 men again in terms of Motherwell, but they just were handed that advantage of playing against 10 men, you know what I mean, being able to get back into the game, getting a chance to do it, and they just threw it right back at Motherwell, as then 16 minutes later they received a straight red card, as well as Tanza was sent off, and they just played out there. Yes, it was maybe a couple of VAR incidences, maybe some box office in terms of the red cards, but it's just no the St Mirren side you're expecting to see when you think well organised, tough to beat, and they make you work for it and really push you to your limits. You're just not getting that, because after getting beat of Motherwell, what then followed was yet another loss to Dundee United, as they were beaten 1-0 again, keeping that consistency. And speaking about consistency, they then played Hearts again. Ladies and gentlemen, because the certain teams are out of the cups, they put the games forward, etc, etc. So they played the game that should have been later on in the year, a couple of weeks ago, that we've already talked about, where they beat Naismith 2-1. They then played against the new Hearts manager, and this was their most recent game of football. And you're thinking, right, they managed to beat Hearts. It's only one of the 2 teams they managed to beat so far. Arguably their best performance of the season was against Hearts. Obviously, I'd say it was Hibs, but I'm talking about over the last couple months. Can they replicate that again after playing Hearts in just such a short period of time? Can they replicate that performance? Can they punish this Hearts side? Nah, ladies and gentlemen, because it might have just been a couple of weeks, but it felt like years worth of a difference in terms of performances. Hearts turned up with a real manager in charge, and Hearts absolutely roasted the St Mirren side from the first whistle to the last, gubbing them 4-0 in a game that wasn't even as close as that's making it sound like. And again, I might be sounding a wee bit daft here, but this doesn't sound like a St Mirren side to me, especially when you look at the talent they've still got. And again, they can now come into this game on the back of that poor run, in the back of those 3 consecutive losses, with actually the worst form in old Scottish football based on the last 5 games. Now granted, because it is Scottish football, there's actually 4 other teams going in and matching how badly that run's actually been. That's how tight it is, near from about 12 to 6th in the league. They're all battling and got the exact same form, with 1 win in the last 5 games with a draw and 3 losses. That's how close it was, and you might look at that and say, right, they're playing absolutely garbage, their form's absolutely shocking, it sounds great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves, because do you know the team that's got the second worst form over the last 5 games away for the ones that are joint? Well, it was Kilmarnock, and we know how that went. And what a statement it is that I sit in front of you as a Rangers fan, breaking this St Mirren side, doing a St Mirren side that's playing its worst stuff that's played in many, many years, yet still I can look you directly in the eyes and tell you I am nervous about the weekend result when we are hosting them at Ibrox. Like, what a feeling, what a state to actually be in as a team that I'm bricking my knickknacks playing a St Mirren side playing as badly as this at Ibrox, because I just don't know what we are actually going to do. I know what they're going to do, you know what I mean? I know they're going to keep it very tight at the back. I know they're going to be led by Gogic at the centre-back position. I think that's someone that's going to be heavily spoken about. You're going to hear his name a hell of a lot, as I do think he is going to be in the centre-back spot, and he's had some good games versus Dessers. Dessers has scored a couple goals against him, and if it is Dessers, we know that, right? But that physicality has just been manhandling Dessers over the last couple months. If Dessers is off the table and we get to see Igamane start and lead the line, that is a true welcome to Scottish football, as that's about as Scottish football test as it actually gets in terms of Gogic, as he's faster than the average centre-back in Scotland, but he's just as nasty, and he's just as mean, and he's just as hard-working. So if Igamane is leading the line, welcome to Scottish football. His name's Gogic. That's what you'll be pretty much facing in the intensity of actually that. And the other side of the park, if you look at, they've got Kevin Van Veen that a lot of people wanted at Rangers a couple of years ago, which shows you what type of trenches we were truly actually in. He's not scored so far in his last 5 games for St Mirren. He's not scored yet in terms of league football. And I know that's a scary thing to say a couple of days before a game, especially the way we actually defend, but that's the stats. We know he's threat, we know his movement, but he's not scored so far yet. Still, that's making me pretty damn nervous coming into the game. But the 2 players that I do really want to pick out that I think is going to have a major say in this game and whether or not is going to be a good day for St Mirren, because again we're still at the St Mirren side, so we try to be as fair as possible in terms of these preview videos. I think a lot of it is going to come from Kilty and a lot of it is going to come from their captain O'Hara, but I'm going to talk about Kilty first because, sorry to do it again, but it's another winger we're talking about doing Tavernier side that I imagine is licking the lips, as we know what Kilty's got. He's been around the block for many years, but he's quick, he's direct, and he can put a ball into the mixer. He's nearly a carbon copy of Matty Kennedy, who we played last week, and I imagine Kilty's sitting and watched how Kennedy went about his business and the joy that he had against Tavernier and what he was able to do in the space he was afforded to cross it. And Kilty will be sitting saying, yeah, I fancy a wee bit of that with the old tongue wrapping around the old lips, excited to play against Tavernier and be able to run at him. He's one you've got to look at, and again the other one is O'Hara that we've already mentioned, who is someone, I'll be honest, and I'll try and keep this brief because I imagine this preview's gone on far too long. He's a player that I keep looking at and I see a lot and I say, yeah, he is due a move elsewhere. He's due a move, whether it's down south or wherever it's going to be, because he's a very consistent player in a side that's very inconsistent, and I think that inconsistency actually takes away from what a player he actually is. Late to arrive in the box, he's very clever around there, he chips in for goals despite being a midfielder, and he'll be one with his late runs that Barron's going to have to keep an eye on, whether it is for counter-attacks or long balls or set piece or that. He's a very clever player in there, and he's got an eye for goal in terms in the midfield, and I imagine that will be the key areas if St Mirren are going to challenge this Rangers side. It'll be Kilty and it'll be O'Hara, and as me as a Rangers fan, that's 2 players that need to be snuffed out the game immediately and needs to be identified and shown respect to take out of the game instead of whatever tactics and arrogance we threw last week versus Clement, afforded space to Kennedy, no ball in their arse about anybody else. That's 2 players you actually need to mention to a Rangers player in the dressing room and be like, go and deal with him please. That would be very nice. And I think that's me done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. They're not playing well, they're not performing well. It's a slightly different preview than normally we have of a very well organised St Mirren side, but as I said last week versus Kilmarnock, the stats and statistics didn't matter when it's time to play the big teams, and these players are always up for these types of matches, and they've shown that in the past with the way they've turned up and played and frustrated us in some of these games. So we'll actually need to tune in and show them the respect, but also put the foot down and go right after them, as they've shown how leaky their defence can be if you start to put them under an ounce of pressure. Honestly, if I'm sitting watching a Rangers game on Sunday, if I'm sitting there with the old gin or anything like that, and I'm sitting here watching a Rangers side just pass it between the centre halves and bounce it to Barron and let this St Mirren side, who's leaking goals left, right and centre, sit there and just watch that for 90 minutes, I don't know what I'm going to do in the recap, ladies and gentlemen, because it will absolutely disgust me. Put this team under pressure and they've been folding so far. Just look at the last running games. Hearts scored an early goal and the St Mirren side fell. Their arse collapsed. Surely, as a Rangers fan, I can expect my Rangers team to turn up and put the same level of pressure on. That would be absolutely fantastic. But that's it for the old St Mirren side, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get over to the Rangers side, where I feel like we started to bleed in there. You know what I mean? Because I'm a pretty emotional guy, and I feel like towards the end there, we started talking about the Rangers then. And to save everyone the mind-numbingly, it's almost recurring theme of talking about Clement needs to go out here and pick the better players and the better performing players and reward players for that. Instead of going down and breaking that down over the next 8 or 10 minutes in terms of the Rangers side, I'm just going to break it down very, very briefly. If this man is actually putting the team first, if this man is trying to build for the future, if this man actually wants to have a future at this club, surely when the team sheet comes out this Sunday, there is a certain Igamane in the starting 11. If there isn't, what is the actual? Oh, we're protecting them. Oh, we're doing this. Get away with all that slow, cautious nonsense and get back to playing ruthless stuff. If they're good enough, they're old enough to play for a Rangers side, and I would love to see him get his start. Again, it is going to be a tough test versus St Mirren, but what's the point in babying these players? Oh, well, they're going to be physical. Yeah, we're in Scotland. That's the way they're going to play, no matter what age they actually are. So why keep the guys and protect them overly long? Innit? He's just got his first goal. He's feeling good about himself. He offers something a wee bit different. He does get the fans up, and you've got to keep that chemistry and keep that like that, because that can really be a 12th man for a side. And I just feel like I've seen enough of what Dessers has done over the last couple of weeks. And again, I'm filming this before the preview video, the press conference, because honestly, I'm tired of listening to it. I just can't do it. And that's why I've never been interested in going to them, because it's just the same stuff fired at you. Oh, the damn time. So I don't know if Dessers has ruled out with this possible eye injury and all, but if it is or isn't, still, it remains to be seen. It has to be Igamane's time. I know he got a start versus Dundee United, never done much, but go back and look at the starting 11. We threw that young laddie under the busway in there. That was almost made to make him fail, so we can go with Dessers. Now, I want to see Igamane start with the proper players in behind them, just to see what there actually can be for this football club. And again, if Danilo can start midweek for the B team and score, he should be bloody hell making the bench now. There's no excuse of a plastic park in terms of rugby park, because, by the way, the friendly that he played in midweek at Steny is also a plastic park. So stop the nonsense and stop treating us like idiots. We're no idiots, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually paying attention. Well, I'm a bit of an idiot, but other people aren't, and we actually pay attention to stuff. So aye, Danilo can play on plastic 3 days later at Steny, but he can't play at Rugby Park. Come on, man, let's stop the madness anyway. Yeah, Danilo on the bench, Igamane in the starting, and hell, even Dessers on the bench, and that right away is at least a bit of threat, because God forbid we ever play two up top in terms of attacking football at Ibrox. It'll never ever catch on. And I guess that takes me to my next talking point, because to me the midfield has to be Barron and it has to be Raskin. And I saw a lot of people's comments saying we didn't need those two types of players in the middle of park at Rangers at Ibrox. That's been our problem for years, and I get why people are saying that, because you're maybe going back to the likes of the Lunny and the Jacko and that playing at the same time, maybe cancelling each other out. And I do go back and forth, because I understand why people are actually saying that. But see, at me at the same time is the middle of the park is so important to win, and the other players that are coming in to the team and the other players we can potentially try and play there, they're just not winning the midfield battle. And I feel like we need to get back to dominating the centre park of the Ibrox, especially to really put pressure on these teams. And again, for the first time in a long time, I saw Raskin and Barron win the midfield battle. So for me, that has to be gone. Whether they're two holders or two similars, they've energy, there's drive, they get the crowd up, they get the team going, they set the press in there. For me, they deserve an opportunity to see, again, as I'm running out of the old vocal cords, how good and how strong this partnership could potentially be. And again, just win a midfield battle in back-to-back games. As sad as that is to say, when's the last time that's happened? You thought the centre mid position, no one. I'm not talking about just Barron and Igamane frustrated us, or this guy played well, Kieran Dowell frustrated us, whatever you want. I'm talking about back-to-back games. You went, yeah, the Rangers centre mid position, the two of them dominated the opposition in back-to-back games. Yeah, answers on a postcard, if they're even a thing these days. And yes, I'm very aware that I did start the Rangers side of the video saying I want to be breaking down who should be playing all that, because I just know that Phil won't do it. But I'm not asking the world to change, Mr. Phil Clement. No, I'm not asking you to change anything or do this or change your philosophy, change your style. I'm not asking any of that. All I'm asking for, as a Rangers fan, is for you to play your better performing players and play the guys that are playing well. You know what I mean? I'm not asking you to times 2 by 2 and make it somehow equal 10. I'm just asking you to play good football players and deserve and reward players for playing well. And that's two players, based on what we saw on Thursday, that deserve to play again on Sunday. It's a mad concept, I imagine, or it certainly is, in the Rangers dugout. And I guess to finish up on that side of thing, again we return to the question marks and why we are nervous, because FCSB did open up, especially after we took the lead in the game, especially after a second we started to flash our stuff, we started to look a hell of a lot better, because again those gaps were created, and it's a European style, it's European football, it gives us more opportunity. That's gone on Sunday, we know that. Is there going to be anything we have learned? We didn't Versus Kilmarnock, we didn't. Versus Celtic, arguably didn't. Versus Hibs, where we barely won that game, we didn't. At Tannadice, where we barely won that game. Have we finally learned our lesson to add again some tempo to the game and put this team under pressure for the start? Again, I guess we'll find out from the starting 11, and I'll be forever hopeful that we do see that, ladies and gentlemen, and do see our Rangers side start with the attack and start by going forward. I'm not wanting to see slow, passive stuff. They're trying to move, CJ, they're trying to move the opposition out the way to that, but they didn't move. It's no Europe. It's domestic football. They'll sit there in the trenches and wait all day as we pass between three centre-halves. Again, it's been a year. There has to be something in there that we've learned. Oh, wait a minute. That's not how Across the City, who's winning every trophy in sight, plays. Maybe we should take a wee play for that playbook, you know what I mean? Steal a wee bit of an NFL type mentality. There's no better playbook than the team that's actually winning, and you can see the way they go about their business and why they score so many goals. I'm forever waiting for it to be in a Rangers team, and again, I know I'm setting myself up for disappointment on Sunday, but it's Ibrox, Sunday night. Sunday, I should say, not Sunday night, but it's Ibrox, 3 o'clock kickoff, there, after a good performance in Europe. Can we see us come out and just batter this team for the start? That would be absolutely sensational, ladies and gentlemen, and that is what I'll hope. Again, regarding fresh injuries or anything like that, Dessers is the only real question mark regarding that. Everything else was good. Balogun did limp off the park, but that's kind of the way Balogun is. He comes in, plays phenomenally well. He's our best defender in there, but he can't play several games in a quick succession. He can't come in and do that. If he could, if he had maybe the availability of the likes of the Davy Weir, if you're going back to that similar age, or I was actually younger than Davy Weir, but you know what I mean, older gentlemen, if you will, that's able to play week in and week out, Balogun would be your starting centre-back. There's no doubt in that, but again, there's always that question mark, and for me, there's other question marks elsewhere, especially at the fullback position, especially against Clement, but again, we know that won't change either. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I know there is that dread, there is that worry, but again, I just want to be a wee bit hopeful that maybe the Kilmarnock slap in the face, and for the first time in Clement's reign, nobody coddled them anymore. Oh, it's the board that's done everything. Oh, it's this that's done everything. And actually, for the first time, after a bad result and months of bad football, people went, wait, Clement, should it not be better than this? So again, it was on Thursday night. It was better than that. And I know there might be excuses for that because it was Europe and it was a bit more autumn. But again, after that, getting questioned for the first time as a Rangers manager by the entire support, he's had a good performance on Thursday, right? Let's see it again on Sunday. Let's see the exact same mentality. No, let's not revert back to type and frustrate and slow everything. Let's keep that. Let's play attacking football. If we're not winning the game, then he just take one striker off on others. Maybe play 2 strikers. Maybe try something different. Let's put some things forward. Let's score some goals. Let's get the fear factor back at Ibrox. Gerrard worked these arse off, bringing it back to the club. It's been slowly but surely dismantled now for a very long time, where teams are actually no too worried about coming here. Let's address that on Sunday. Let's put the marker down. Let's remind everyone that we can occasionally play some good stuff, and let's show we've learned some lessons for what happened on Sunday. I didn't want to be sitting repeating it's the same damn stuff, and that's just how I feel, ladies and gentlemen. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions as you go ahead into this big game. Have we finally cracked the code to Scottish football? Have we finally learned our lesson? Sunday, by about, 4:30, 4:45, we will be all up to speed and we'll know the answer to that question. I'm going to go wait and aye. I'm going to go Rangers 3, St Mirren nothing. I'm going to go for it, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because I'm a Rangers fan. I love this team and I'll forever hope for the absolute best. And I just hope, and I see a wee Igamane. And I think Barami might score as well. That's my 2 that I'm fancying. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I've been CJ992. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you Sunday night. And until then, all the best and bye.